What's up, guys? Theo here. Going to be breaking down Farid Basharat versus Taylor Lapilus. So, Farid Basharat is a minus 300 favorite here. He's obviously one of the members of the Basharat brothers, who are two pretty hyped prospects right now in the UFC. And he's going up against plus 210 Taylor Lapilus, who is a French, I believe, kickboxer who was in the UFC a long time ago and left the UFC and now has returned and is coming off of a split decision win against Cowlin Lauren, who was a hyped Irish prospect. That was honestly not the best fight. I believe that was on the France card, and Cowlin Lauren really just held him against the fence for most of the time, and Taylor Lapilus' striking is not the most active. He doesn't have the highest amount of output. He kind of likes to dance and pick at you and snipe from a distance. But he didn't have a ton of success against Cowlin Lauren. I guess because that guy was really tough or something. But honestly, I see Farid probably winning this. I think there's a bit of a smell of an upset about this particular fight, because I don't think it's any secret that every time we kind of see one of these pairs of like super hyped brothers that are in the UFC, seems like they always end up getting smoked. I can't even count the amount of times I've seen it happen. I saw it happen with the Koski brothers. They were supposed to be the next big thing, and both of them got beat by mediocre fighters. They ended up getting exposed. The Daukaus brothers, who one of them is like retired now, and the other one is probably about to retire after getting knocked out by like 3 heavyweights in a row. The Bonfim bros, we saw Gabriel Bonfim get beat by Nicolas Dalby, and we saw Ismail Bonfim get beat by Benoit Saint-Denis. So every time we see a pair of these brothers that are supposed to be these like world killer brothers, I don't know what it is about the brothers thing, but it seems to almost be like a curse on them where they inevitably get exposed and fuck up. And the thing about Farid is that he doesn't have a really great offense. He's a very technical fighter, and his goal is kind of like neutralize you, then get you down, and then wrestle you, smother you, and sub you. He really has kind of the same, like, he does the same thing in a lot of his fights. He doesn't really strike a lot. I mean, he will, but it's not what he's ever really trying to do. He's kind of just trying to like strike with his opponent until he can basically use his high fight IQ to get you down, and then he tries to do like the same thing to all of his opponents. He tries to basically wrestle his way all the way up through their guard and then sub them with like a crank. And he's been successful so far. He's undefeated, and he is good. I would pick against him here, if not for nothing else other than I have noticed that it seems like if you fade brothers in the UFC, you do really well, sets of brothers. And last time I was thinking about it, I had bet against Nicolas Dalby, and I was thinking there will be a time to fade these brothers, and then he loses. So it seems like the time to fade them is always like the next fight from whenever you realize that they're not like these world beaters. But I don't know if I can convince myself to take a shot on Taylor Lapilus, just because he is not presenting enough danger on the feet when he's not getting dragged against the cage and dragged down. He's not really like presenting really solid, like crazy striking. His path to a victory here is obviously going to be to knock Farid out, because if Farid can get him down, Farid is going to control him on the ground. Although Farid is a bit of a blanket wrestler, to be honest. His style is not really the most friendly for judges, so I do think we're going to see some point eventually in the future where we can fade Farid. But I just can't pick Taylor Lapilus to do that when he looked pretty mediocre against Cowlin Lauren, and I think Farid is a lot better than Cowlin Lauren. So I'm gonna go with Farid here. I would not bet him at minus 300, but I also don't want to take a shot on Taylor Lapilus because I just don't think the guy is really that high level, and I think that Farid can use his style to effectively beat Taylor quite easily, assuming he shows up and has a good night. So pick is going to be Farid Basharat on this one, guys. keep it locked in. Hopefully the brothers' curse doesn't strike and Taylor Lapilus doesn't knock Farid Basharat out. But if that does happen, we will know for sure that the next move is to fade the other Basharat bro, who is also undefeated or might have one loss, but he's undefeated in the UFC. So, I mean, hey, if we find out here that the brother curse is true and Farid gets beat by Taylor, you know what the next move is going to be. We're going to get our money back, and we are going to fade the hell out of that other Basharat brother. I can't remember his name. Farid or something like that? Something like that. I think Farid is the better of the two because he beat them on Blackshear, which is more impressive, but we'll see what happens, guys, here. This will be an interesting one because either our pick will be correct or we'll learn about something that we can exploit later on in the future. Seems like once one of these brothers loses, the other one always loses the next fight. It's like it completely destroys their confidence or whatever. You see it with every single pair of them. So, yeah, keep it locked in. I'm kind of excited to see what happens in this fight. We're going to rock with Farid here. Stay tuned in, guys. More picks coming later this week.